and welcome to Yoga with Julia Wiley. I'm Julia and this is Lucy. Today's session is going to be for relieving tight and stiff hips, which is a very common problem. It's often caused by spending a lot of time sitting down, which shortens the hip muscles. This can feel uncomfortable and affect your range of motion. It can also affect a lot of things that we do regularly, such as how deeply you can squat or lunge and the ease of your running stride. Having tight hip flexors at the front can make it harder for the glutes to activate, which forces other muscles to compensate, such as the lower back muscles, which can then get overworked and injured. This yoga class is designed to loosen tight hips, build strength and flexibility, improve your range of motion and circulation in the hip area, and to relieve back pain. We're going to start off with some warm-ups. Just sit up with a nice straight spine here. Let's just take a few deep breaths, settle ourselves into the class. You can close your eyes if you like. Nice deep breaths in and out through the nose. And let your chin drop down to your chest. Let's do some head circles very gently, loosening up the neck area. Going around and round one way and then reversing it. And let's come over onto hands and knees. We'll do some cat-cow, or as I like to call them, cat-wolf poses. So hold your tummy in nice and firmly and then hollow the spine, look up as you inhale, press into the mat with your whole hands, and then as you exhale, come into a cat curl, arching the spine. Nice long inhale into the wolf, like a wolf howling at the moon, looking up, and exhale into the cat. And let's do that one more time. Inhale, looking up. Exhale into cat curl, and then come into downward facing dog, pressing the hips towards the ceiling. You might like to pedal your feet, pressing one heel down and then the other towards the mat. And then walk your feet slowly up to your hands and let yourself roll gently all the way up to standing, hands into Namaste. Okay, we're going to go into the yoga crescent pose now. So take a big step back with your right foot, but stay on the back toes. So it's a little bit of a balance here. Facing the front, hips face the front, bend down into that front knee, making sure the knee doesn't go over the front toes. A nice lunge, reach the arms up. So you're lengthening the body from the belly button to the fingertips, stretch up, and from the belly button down, sink into the legs. The back leg is straight, push back into the heel, and reach back with your arms and look up. So it's quite a tricky balance, and you should feel this really working on the front of that right hip here. Now let's take it up and down a couple of times. Now you might like to look straight ahead for this because it's quite tricky with the balance. Let's go a couple more times, up and down. Hands come to Namaste and step the back foot up. Well done, we'll do the other leg. So step back, nice big step with your left foot. Nice wide stance far apart. Sink into the front leg again, making sure that that knee isn't over that front toe. If it is, take your stance a little bit wider. So the arms again reach up and back. Look up for a moment, sinking into that front knee. Back leg presses back into the heel. And then maybe look forward for the next part as we come up and down a few times. So you don't need to go as fast as this. Especially when you're starting out, it's quite tricky on the balance. Let's do one more. And step the feet up together, well done. Now we're going to go into a low lunge, so step back again with your right foot, and this time come right down onto the knee. Take your front foot away so you get a really wide lunge here, stretching into that front leg. See how I'm really leaning forward. You can feel a stretch down the front of that hip. You can let your hands rest on the front knee if you like, and breathe here. And step that back. We'll step the other leg forwards, and again come into that lunge. So stretching down into it, holding it here and breathing. And take that knee back. Swap over again. Now bring your hands to the floor, slide your right leg back, and see if you can come down lower towards the mat with your face. Perhaps your hands are on the floor, perhaps you can get your elbows down. You may like to also hold the back of your ankle with your left hand and bring your face down towards the ground. This is the lizard pose. So I guess that back leg, like the lizard's tail, sticking out behind you. And then press up, take the toes up towards the ceiling and pull back with your hips. And you'll feel a stretch all the way from the heel up to that left hip. And let's come down again into the lizard. Either both hands on the floor or with your left hand holding the back of your left ankle. Breathe into this. Come up on your hands now, bring the left hand and see if you can just gently press that left knee a little bit out to the side. Hold it. And release. And come back down into that lizard. And walk it back again. You might like your hands either side of the leg or both on the inside. It really doesn't matter, it's up to you. Pull back with the hips again so you get that lovely stretch all the way down the back of the leg. And release. We're going to come over to do the other leg. So the right leg steps forward, nice wide lunge. You might even slide the back leg back a little bit and come down for lizard pose. So both hands on the floor, perhaps both elbows, or you can hold the back of your ankle with your right hand. Bring the face down towards the mat, just respecting your own flexibility wherever you get to. Breathe into it. And then press into the mat. Take the front toes up towards the ceiling. Pull back with your hips, and this time you'll feel a stretch all the way up the back of that right leg. Take it to where it feels a really good stretch without it being painful. And then come forward again into that lizard pose. Again, your option, hands or elbows on the floor, or hold the back of your ankle. Now as you're warming up, you might find you can drop a little further into the pose. Ease yourself up. Now take your hand gently on the inside of the knee and see if you can press it a tiny bit out to the side. And release. Well done. Ease up from the pose. Take the leg behind you and come down to lie on your tummy with your hands by the sides. Palms facing down into the mat. Now lift your head and chest up and then see if you can send your legs up. Now if they won't lift, at least have them working on lifting as much as you can. If you want to, you can also clasp your hands behind your back and pull, lifting up. Hold it here. And then release your upper body, let your head rest down. And then lower the legs, take a breath. And then take your legs up again. Hold them as high as you can. And then bring the arms out like aeroplane wings, lift up. And again, see if you can clasp your hands behind your back. Pull. Well done. Release, lower your legs and press yourself gently back into child's pose. The hips back towards your heels. Let your head rest down and relax into it. So this is stretching and lengthening out the lower back here. And gently ease yourself up to sitting. Bring the feet together, pressing the knees out towards the floor, lifting the spine up nice and long. And don't bounce your knees up and down here, but just keep a gentle pressure on. You don't want to be overstretching the tendons. Just take it to where it feels really nice. And then grab hold of one of your feet and let's imagine you are stirring a pot with your heel. So going round and round, just opening up the hip here. And then bring this foot over the top of the other knee if you can. Set up nice and tall here. We're going to go into what's called a cow-faced pose. So walk yourself forwards and let yourself hang down. This is a great hip stretch. Breathe into it. And ease up. Let's take it into a twist now. So your right hand on the outside of the knee, other hand behind you. Sit up with a nice straight spine and press, looking back behind you, just wringing out the spine, lengthening up through the crown of the head and breathing. And release. Bring the feet back together again, opening the feet like a book. Sit up tall, back into that cobbler's pose. So it should feel really nice on the hips, opening them up. Going to be strengthening them, lengthening them, improving flexibility. Right, and let's do stirring the pot with the other leg. So take hold of your foot and let's do some big circles, round and round, opening up the hip, stirring that pot, and then take the foot over the opposite knee onto the floor if you can, and try and bring these hips square as much as you can onto the floor. If they don't get quite there, that's fine. Lengthen up through the spine now and walk yourself forward to hang over the knees. Breathe, relax into it. And slowly ease up again and come back into that cobbler's pose for the third and final time for this session. Gently pressing the knees out towards the mat. Release that. Now bring your left leg in front of you and the right leg, try it first of all just on the floor in front of the other leg. If that's enough for you and you feel it already in the hips, which you might do, especially if you do have quite tight hips, then stay here. If you feel you've got room to move, you might like to bring this leg up. So you're not doing a half lotus with the foot up near the hip, but just place it onto the knees. You've got knees to ankles, ankles to knees. Sit up so you're nice and tall. Again, stay here if you like, or else walk yourself forwards and hang down. So you could have your leg in front of you and be coming forward this way. Just find a place that works for your body, and you might find that one side, one leg might be more flexible than the other. So just listen to it, take it to where it's a good stretch, breathe into it, Now you should feel it if you've got the leg on top or in front, you'll feel it mainly in that hip, but you might feel a little bit in the opposite hip as well. And then release that. Give your legs a little bit of a shake out if you like, and then we'll do the other side. So your left leg in front to start, in front of your right leg, and see if that feels enough for you, and if so, that's your pose. If you want to take it further, you can bring the foot up towards the knee. So this leg is out so that you've just got it underneath the leg. It's not tucked right under you like when you've got your legs crossed. So if that works for you, you can stay in this pose. And if you want to take it further again, just walk yourself a little bit forwards or far forward, whatever works for your own hips, and relax down into it. If it bothers your knees, then don't bring that top leg onto the other leg, just have it in front of you on the floor here, and then you can relax a little bit further into the pose without having so much strain on the knee. So just find the place that works for you, breathe into it. It's a very intense hip stretch. And ease up out of that. Again, you might like to give your legs a little bit of a shake out before we go into our next hip stretch, which is the pigeon pose. So come onto your hands and knees and slide one leg forward, say your right leg, and bring, if you can, bring the foot around at a bit of an angle. Slide your other leg back, keeping the hips parallel to the floor here. So don't let one hip come down like this. Slide the back leg back, and you should feel the stretch in this hip here, the one with the bent leg. And then very gently come forwards onto your hands and let your head relax down. If you don't feel much at all, you can bring this leg at more of an angle. If it's too much, take it to less of an angle, or you can have the heel just in line with your thigh. So as always, find what works for your own body. Relax into it and enjoy this pose. Gently press yourself up now and bend the leg behind you. If you like, you can see if you can reach around, grab the foot, gently bringing it in towards your hip. And release, and we'll swap over to the other leg. So let's say your left leg forward, or whichever one you didn't do last. Bring the leg around a bit of an angle if you can, hips parallel to the mat. Slide the back leg back until you feel like, okay, that's a good stretch and that's far enough. Then stop there, ease yourself down onto your hands gently, and let your head relax down. I quite often like to close my eyes in these poses. It just helps me focus on that sensation of stretch, and that's what you're looking for, that feeling of a good stretch, but not to the point that it's painful. And keeping the breathing nice and deep and smooth. And ease yourself up slowly. Bend the leg behind you if you want to. You can see if you can grab hold of the back foot and gently bring the foot in towards that thigh. And release. Now we're going to come over onto our backs. So ease yourself down slowly. Have your knees bent, and we're going to go up into the bridge pose. So you have your legs parallel, hip width apart, tucking the tailbone under, lift the hips and push up as high as you can towards the ceiling. You should feel the stretch again on the front of the thighs, and clench your glutes, your buttocks tightly, so we're strengthening those muscles as well. If you can, clasp your hands underneath the body and wriggle the shoulder blades in so they're squeezing together. Push the hips up as high as you can. And if you want to challenge yourself even more, see if you can bring your weight onto one leg and bring the other leg on top. So opening up the knee to the side, push up nice and high. This is a really tight, intense workout on the glutes here. And let's swap over to the other leg. So shifting the weight over, bring the opposite foot on top, opening the knee to the side, push up nice and high and hold. And then release. Now take your hands behind your head, holding onto your elbows, and we're going to walk our spine down. So starting from the upper back, tuck the tailbone, curling it right underneath you so you can lower down one vertebra at a time as much as possible onto the mat until the whole back comes down flat, and then hug your knees into your chest and let yourself gently rock side to side. Well done. Now we're going to go into happy baby pose. So see if you can grab hold of the outside of your feet and pull the knees down either side of your torso. If you can't grab hold of the feet, hold on to your legs or the back of your knees. Take one leg down to the floor, the knee bent, bring your opposite leg across and gently press the knee out to the side. If you like, you can also reach around the thigh, and if you lean back or lie back down, you'll increase that hip stretch, and you can even hold it with this hand and gently press your knee out to the side. So this is like a supine or lying down version of the pigeon pose that we just did a moment ago. A great hip opener. Breathe into it, and then let's release and do the other leg. So bring the foot across, gently pressing the knee to the side. That's the first stage, which you can stay at if you like. Or else reach around the thigh with both hands, lying back down, pulling the leg very gently in towards you. This increases the stretch on the hip. And then if you want to, you can also gently press this knee out to the side with your hand. And breathe into it. And release. That's wonderful. Now take one leg up towards the ceiling, walk your hands up, grab the back of the leg or the thigh or the ankle to bring it in towards you, but at the same time stretching the leg and lengthen it. And if you like, you can lift your head and your chest up towards the leg. You can also, if as an option, straighten the other leg out along the floor. So let's bend that knee in and swap over. And walk your hand up the other leg, again grabbing behind the knee or the shin or the ankle. Lengthen the leg, stretch long and gently pull it in towards you. And then if you like, lift up your head towards the leg, keeping the neck in line with the body here, so you're not scrunching your head forwards, but lifting more through the chest. And if you like, you can also straighten out the other leg along the floor. And then bend the knee, hug it in, and bring the other knee up. And let yourself rock side to side. And then drop the feet down to the floor, knees stay bent, legs are hip width apart. Let your hands come out to the sides and your knees just flop gently over to one side for a lovely twist. It just stretches out and lengthens the lower back, releasing the hips from all that stretching and strengthening they've been doing. And then bring the knees up and let them gently flop over to the other side. And take a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to go into our final pose, Shavasana, the relaxation pose. So stretch your legs out, adjust your back anyway to make you feel comfortable. If it feels right for you, have the palms facing the ceiling. Close your eyes very gently. And relax. Feel as if your whole body was just melting down into the floor. Letting go. So just bring your attention to your breath, flowing gently in and out of your body. And one by one, bend your knees. Slowly open your eyes. And then hug the knees into the chest one by one. Let yourself again rock very gently side to side. And then rock all the way over onto one side. And slowly bring yourself all the way back up to sitting. Well done. I hope you've enjoyed this yoga for hips. Please do subscribe to my channel by clicking on the little subscribe button below if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to click on the bell symbol, because this way you'll get notified whenever my new videos come out. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. I love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.